And then he might have chosen 1972 when he was in the hit series Budgie. Or he could have chosen 1974 when he saw his first starring role in a film, the feature film Stardust. But in fact, he's chosen August 1973, all because of what happened to him one morning at 3 o'clock when he was driving down the Horsham-Brighton road. His car left the road very, very quickly indeed. He hit a very large and old oak tree at incredible speed, and he is extremely fortunate to be here today. He was very ill after the accident, and it really did change his life in many respects. Delighted to say that he's here, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Faith. Many people would want to forget completely what you went through. Why choose it as an important moment?
It was because it was the most significant change in my whole life, the accident. And although I don't have a great recall of it, because I lost my memory for about 5 weeks, what happened to me, one very good thing happened out of it, that I got to know my kid, my daughter. And she was about 3 up to that time. I hadn't really taken much notice of her because I'm not terribly paternal. And I'd never really spoken to my kid up to then. You know, I'd sort of seen her and everything. You do when you've got a kid, don't you? But I hadn't had a lot to do with her. And I was lying there prostrate, and I'd hear these little feet, and this little naked body would walk towards the bed and sort of climb up the sheets, get on top of the bed, and she used to be fascinated by all the plaster, because I was covered in all this plaster. And she had little tiny hands. She'd put her hand down my plaster and scratch my leg for me where it's itching. And we got friends. I just got to know her there, and it sort of went on from then. And I may have missed out on knowing her as well as I do if I hadn't have had that period of that accident with her.
It was a pretty tough way to find that relationship. We've got a picture of just what you survived. That's a pretty comprehensive thing to do to a Ford Granada, actually.
God, isn't it? It's unbelievable.
I suspect the tree came off better. Any knowledge of what happened?
No.
You hadn't been drinking?
No. No, at that time I didn't drink even wine.
Well, there's certainly a lot of interest in the accident, and we got a newspaper clipping of just how,
God, it's unbelievable,
how fit you looked at the time. Good advert for seatbelts, I think.
Yeah, and funnily enough, yeah, I maybe wore a seatbelt in those days once in 100 times.
Yeah.
I don't know why, that night in particular. Maybe it was a premonition. But I just shoved them on that night. Why I did it, I don't know. It was pure luck.
Do you still get nightmares about it?
No, I don't. Not about the accident. Funnily enough, about 2 years I felt I was over it. And for a long time after a major accident like that, you do get nightmares. And you may be sitting watching television, or you could be sitting in an audience like this, and then suddenly you start crying. And it took about 8, 9 years to get over it, which is why I never worked for so long.
Is that why you talk about losing a great chunk of your life?
Well, in a sense, I was out of control of my life for that 9 years because I was recovering from the accident.
Was that a bad thing, or did it turn out to be good that you had to have a complete change of direction?
If you're happy that today, then everything that's happened to you has brought you to that moment, so it's got to be good. But if you look back on it, you may have changed. You know, well, I mean, I don't know what my life would have been without it. I may have acted all that time, because at the time I was acting, I may have acted for the last 10 years and now be feeling that I'd done everything I wanted to at acting, and not want to act anymore. So I may be looking at directing now, whereas I'm looking forward to acting.
Well, the best bit of acting for many, many people is that you've done, we'll talk about in just a little while, but certainly the most well-known piece has got to be the role of Budgie.
Budgie, yeah.
Budgie. Let's have a bit of Budgie.
You're asking me to consider your resignation?
Well, nothing personal, Charlie, but, well, I've been thinking, see how it is? Well, it's just not economic.
I mean, I do all the graft, you cop all the wedge. Well, it's definitely not on, Charlie. I don't see why you should get a profit out of my labour.
A profit out of you? I'm subsidising you, you impudent young ripple. Don't you forget it.
You call it what you like, Charlie, but I don't want no subsiding no more. From here on in, the fruits of my labour goes to Bounty Bird, #1.
Come here, Budgie.
I've got a business appointment.
Look, I want you to run an errand for me.
Look, I am a businessman, self-employed. I'm not your bleating errand boy.
Now, Budgie, I'm sure you wouldn't want to see Mrs. Endel's dear departed mother going with her wee bunch of daffies. And I'm equally sure you don't want to feel the weight of my boot up your back, sound like it cracking.
Put it like that, all right. When I get my own capital, I'm going to buy this bleeding shop off you and burn it down.
Yeah. Budgie's about to be repeated, isn't it?
Yeah,
on Channel 4.
On Channel 4.
I just wondered if some people will watch it and think, God,
What do you mean some people watch it? They all watch it.
some of the people who watch
Oh,
it
right.
will look at it and think, God, they've ripped off Minder there, haven't they?
Yeah, because a lot of the audience won't know that Budgie existed,
Yes.
will they? Well, they'll notice that the hairstyles and everything are a bit
Yeah.
old-fashioned, aren't they?
We'll talk a bit more about Budgie in a while. Back to 73
Yeah.
and the music of the time. You've got this amnesia problem, so do you remember...
So I don't remember
No.
music.
Well, then you're going to find this interesting, because here's the chart,
Oh, no, look at that.
and talk us through it if you want. There's Gary Glitter, I'm the leader of the gang, he was up at the top. Peters and Lee, remember them?
Good God, yeah.
Welcome Home. And Mungo Jerry, with a printing error. All right, all right, all right.
David.
Sadly, the Carpenters.
Life on
You see
Mars.
once more.
Mud. God, you know, there's a lot of them that don't
See, that
exist anymore.
that wouldn't be allowed today. Look, Gay and Randy together there. And Elton John there with Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. I'll give you a few more memory jerkers now. 1973, it was a very, very hot summer, and there was a disaster. It's amazing when you do this programme how you seem to find that from Tinsel and Griffith to Gary Glitter, he's the leader of the gang.
I had no prior knowledge of the Watergate break-in. I neither took part in nor knew about any of the subsequent cover-up activities.
He did the Monster Mash.
The Monster Mash.
It was a graveyard
He
smash.
did the mash.
It caught on in a
He
flash.
did the mash.
He did the Monster Mash.
I was walking beside a shop and I saw a Selfridges bag, a very, very clean bag.
It consists of a flip-top cigarette packet with a flat battery attached to it by sellotape, as you see.
If the IRA thinks they're going to be able to threaten the British or blackmail the British by this sort of activity, they couldn't be more wrong.
If a queen was to send me her special aircraft as the head of the Commonwealth, I would be very happy to receive a Scottish guard as my bodyguard to escort me to Canada.
Those were such happy times and not so long ago. How I wondered where they'd gone. But they're back again, just like a long lost friend. All the songs I loved so well. Every sha-la-la-la, every whoa-whoa still shines. Every
you like to say hello? Some of the flavour I was going to say was I don't remember that at all. I shan't do my shirt down to the bottom. Anyway, in the summer of '73, there was a young lady who was having very much the time of her life.
It's rubbish, but if people like it and it helps them through life, I mean, I'm atheist, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't connect with me, but the first thing, apparently, I asked when I came round from the accident was that in the worst parts, when I was going, I think I was going for about 4 days, I could have gone at the drop of a hat. And I asked my wife if at any time did I cry out to, please God help me, because I thought maybe I would, you know, cash in at the time, and I didn't. I was surprised at that, because I would have imagined that I would have, in a moment of panic or desperation, because I think one wants to believe that there's something that can look after you. It's just I don't happen to believe it.
But this accident clearly did have a huge effect on you. You decided you were going to do different things. One of the peculiar things that you decided to do was try and learn to fly a helicopter.
What do you mean try? I did. Well,
you did have an accident the first time you went solo, didn't you?
I did. It was so frightening. And I was their worst student ever. And on the first solo...
Did they tell you that?
Oh, yeah. I got a wooden spoon at the end. At the passing out parade, I got a wooden spoon. I got my wings and a wooden spoon.
Passing out sounds very appropriate.
Passing out, it was unbelievable. It was so frightening crashing a helicopter. It's much worse to crash a helicopter than that in a hang glider or a car, because you're up there and, well, there's a built-in fear anyway. I mean, I hate flying. And I was so petrified that all the training went straight out the window. And I just wanted to throw the controls away and close my eyes until I hit the ground. Yeah, that's exactly how I went. I started crying to myself. I thought it was him on the ground making the helicopter do some things. And when I finally hit the ground, I was still in one piece. And I tell you, I was so relieved. And in fact, once I got my license and the challenge, I couldn't wait to get rid of the helicopter and never fly again. I must be the worst flyer in the world. I was so frightened of it.
Yes. I just can't imagine that if you hate flying, that you would actually go through to get that magic little license.
Well, you know why I did it? I think why I did it, when I look back on all those things that I did during that 10-year period, because I wasn't acting, which is what I should have been doing, I diverted myself with as many challenges as possible. And to give myself, to remind myself that I was alive and that I could do things. And I don't feel the need for that anymore.
Well, let's not talk too much about 85. Let's stay at 73 for the moment.
73, well.
Because we were looking at that chart, and we've got some gentlemen who are having a real old blast in the charts in 73. Mungo Jerry.
Oh, I like Mungo.
Yes, they're all right. Mungo Jerry. And now here is the final story from August 73.
Race to rescue...
You weren't the only one in peril in 73.
Amazing, that, wasn't it?
Great story, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I remember you said to me once that you hated Tony Blackburn because on the breakfast show he kept playing your old records and you couldn't stand hearing them.
Well, you know, it's a peculiar thing. I've always felt insecure about my singing, and until about 6 months ago. And my kid said to me, I heard one of your records today. I think it's the first time she'd ever heard them, because we don't have any of that stuff in the house. Yeah, she says, I really liked it. I like your voice. Suddenly, I've got a whole new view of my voice and that singing career, because it's... so
it's
I'm pleased that she liked it.
It's not such a bad memory then, after all.
It's ceased to be. It's becoming, as I suppose as I get older, it's becoming more and more of a pleasant memory.
What a shame. I was hoping I was really going to make you squirm.
Well,
now.
you probably will anyway.
What do you want if you don't want money? What do you want if you don't want gold? Say what you want and I'll give it you, darling. Wish you wanted my love, baby.
By and large, do you enjoy being a star?
Mainly, I love it.
What do you like best about it?
Well, the greatest luxury for me is having a car. That's been fantastic for me.
A fast car?
Yeah. It's an American car, actually.
Do you like driving fast?
When it's safe to do so, yeah.
Do you really think you're going to spend your life singing, or are you going to develop into an actor or do something quite different?
Well, I hope to sing for the rest of my life, but I want to spend much more time trying to develop as an actor.
What a wally.
Talking to John
What do
Freeman.
you say when you're 19, eh?
Oh, that's lovely. I mean, we've got two things there. We've got the fast car.
When it's safe.
When it's safe, when there isn't a tree around. And then we've got the thing singing forever.
Singing forever.
Which quite clearly is not something that's a prime ambition at the moment.
It never really was my prime ambition. I always wanted to be an actor. I saw James Dean in a film and I wanted to be an actor. But I mean, I always looked at singing on stage, my act, as a piece of acting. I never looked at it just in pure pop singer terms.
Mm. The car crash made you think about a lot of things, set you off in a direction. Clearly, it's the serious acting now.
Yeah, I've got to act now. I'm going to give up all. Well, I've given up really all my other activities, building, developing houses. You know, all that stuff I've given up.
We mentioned earlier The Role, which received tremendous critical acclaim. Here is a review of Alfie.
Sensitive Adams and Alfie surprise. Alan Parker's production of Alfie at the Liverpool Playhouse is a surprise, not least for an astonishingly sensitive central performance from Adam Faith. Faith's final monologues are genuinely touching, with the actor exposing his own raw nerve ends.
Not sure about the end line, but a little pretentious then, isn't it?
Well, I didn't write it, but I was
aware
very
that
pleased to get that.
you had your nerve ends exposed?
Actually, it was, because have you ever seen Alfie as a
No,
play?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
It's one of the best parts for a London actor that could ever be. And the abortion speech at the end. You know, in the film, you see Mike Caine with the abortion, you see it all happening. But in the play, Alfie has to tell you what's happened. And it's a fantastic speech. And they used to take people out of the audience every night, women crying, because obviously it touched a nerve with them. The St John's Ambulance people used to take them out of the theatre. It was a fantastic experience. I'd like to have brought it to London, actually. I think I might try and do that next year.
Well, I assure you, there's an awful lot of people who half want you to succeed. You've got that wonderful quality that I think warms people so much.
Thank you. You'll have me in tears in a minute. Stop it.
Yeah. All I would say on behalf of all those people is please drive safely.
Thank you. I will.
Adam, thank you. I could chat all night. Tremendous.
Thank you.